Well, good day, everyone. Happy Thursday. How are you guys doing? Awesome. I need to know if you guys are here to learn about the forecast of these 2 upcoming months. Hello, welcome everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Thursday. I'm doing a join live with Jeff today. Hello, hello, hello. Namaste. Tell me, where are you guys joining me from? Where are you from? Hello, hello, hello. Namaste. How did you guys start out your day? Hello, Organic Makeover. Where are you from? Hi, Farzana June. Love you guys. Here's Jeff. Hello, hello. Hi, Mina. Hi, Masa. Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Why did that disconnect?
I'm great. I am
Weird.
great.
Check.
Check, check. You're
That's
from
weird.
Tehran? Welcome.
Yeah. Welcome. How strange.
Namaste, Jeff.
Whatever.
Sweden.
What?
Okay, from Sweden, welcome. Hello.
Good morning.
Norway, welcome, Mahin. Welcome, everyone. Okay, Jeff. So, are you ready for our juicy topic today?
Yeah, I am. Actually, very ready.
Would you like to dive in?
Yeah, let's dive in. So our topic is, once again, like how to survive. That's kind of a strong word, but how to survive in uncertain times, or what we can do to feel empowered in uncertain times, right?
No, it's about being happy. How to be happy under uncertain.
Ah, yeah, there we go. How to be happy during
Yes.
uncertain times. Well, do you want to kick off, or do you want me to?
You can start up.
Okay, well, I would say that I have about 4 or 5 things that a person could do to give themselves the best chance of happiness. I'm incredibly skeptical of any strategy for happiness, because I feel like happiness kind of descends upon you and can leave in a moment's notice. So anybody that claims to have the secret to happiness, I kind of question that. I think we can set ourselves up for that happiness to descend upon us as best as possible. So the first thing I would do is, if things are uncertain, to me, a simile to uncertainty is that things are chaotic. Things are chaotic, they're unknown, they're uncertain, there's a lot of fear, doubt, and out of our control. The first thing that, the very, very first thing I would do is practice, this is going to sound cliche, but practice a degree of mindfulness, meaning being present and aware. And this is something that might seem silly, but like, I'll sit there and do something like this. I'll feel the palm of my hand with my fingers, or you often hear, like, listen to your breath, and I can hear my refrigerator, I can see the lights, I can see my walls, I can see the microphone, I can see you, I can smell, like becoming very sensory. And just the more sensory that we become, the more present we become. And that tends to slow down our mind from spinning and wandering and out of control to, it's here, you're being here now. So that would be my first thing. What do you have to say?
I have nothing to say. Can you believe that, Jeff?
You have nothing to say. I love it. the second thing I would do, and this is sequential, I would do these in steps. Once you've become more sensory and tactile and made yourself more here, now, and present, is observe what story of uncertainty you're listening to. So are you actually listening to your story of uncertainty, or are you just accepting and agreeing to somebody else's story of uncertainty? You know, and as a for example, you know, if you're in America and you're a Democrat and a Republican is in office, then the more left-leaning media is going to sell you the story that the world is coming to an end. And vice versa. If you're a Republican in America and there's a Democrat in office, then the Republican news is going to tell you that the world is coming to an end. So media, and we know this, like mass media is selling uncertainty so that you'll tune in and get their answers.
And fears.
And fear. And dare I say that even some coaches out there sell uncertainty because they want to be the solution to your uncertainty. Mm-hmm. So rather than just letting you discover that they're the right person for you, which, you know, as an experienced coach, all somebody has to do is look at your page and see all the value that you bring and say, wow, I think she's a smart and wise person and I want her to coach me. But that's different than selling fear so that you as the coach can be the solution to that fear, which I don't agree with. So there's a lot of selling and support and agreement around uncertainty, but is it really your story? So that's something to become aware of. That's my step 2. What do you think about that?
I just want to make clear this last part. Is it your story? What do you mean by that?
Well, let's say that right now, everybody feels like we're in the most uncertain times ever. Is that really true for you? Is that really true for you? Mm-hmm. If you just got diagnosed with a life-threatening illness, let's say you have stage 3 or 4 cancer and it's not looking good, you have a very personal story of uncertainty. If you got fired from your job and had no savings and a bunch of bills, like, you have a personal story of uncertainty. That actually is applicable to you. It's not the world's story of uncertainty. So a lot of people listen to the media, they listen to the news, they listen to their friends, and they get caught up. They get caught up in all of the agreement to uncertainty rather than saying, well, wait a minute here. I know the world, it sounds like the world is falling apart, but I don't know that my world is falling apart. Your world might be just fine. And you might not know that your world is fine until you think about it. Like, mm-hmm. really analyze, is my world fine? Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get it. Okay, thank you so much for clarifying that. The way I look at it is, well, from many different angles. When you look at the outer world as shamanism, mm-hmm. you kind of know that this is not as real as you think it to be. Yep. And then you're thinking like, okay, this is a movie, so it's my choice how much I want to make it real and how much I want to get affected by it. Right. So that's one point to look at it. The other way would be that my whole teaching, like looking at this eye and seeing that who is the experiencer of whatever it is, right? Mm-hmm. So we all know that the story is being written by mind ego. Mm-hmm. And all the uncertainty and fear and all that comes when I'm not fully present being in this moment. Yesterday, I had a joint live with a couple of people and we talked about it. Okay, it was about guilt, how mothers are feeling guilty all the time. They make themselves wrong constantly and they feel guilty about it.
Mm-hmm.
And the discussion was that you have to go to the past and you have to redo or to rerun the story, and then you have to come as a detective to see
Mm-hmm.
what's right or what's wrong, or oh, I shouldn't have done that, or this is. And as we know, the ego mind will constantly makes us wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're fully present and we learn to practice to be in the moment, then there's no regrets. I mean, what can you regret right here, right now? I mean, right here, right now, everything is okay. This I is being active. There's a higher consciousness that is watching this I and is not identifying with its thoughts, with its feeling, even with the physical body, right? So
Right.
when I come to that point, I become the higher awareness and I'm just
Mm-hmm.
watching this character, then I'm not worrying about anything. I mean, the world is just happening, and
Mm-hmm.
whatever is happening, whether is our uncertainty or there is certainty, is the I who is experiencing. So I would constantly question the I, and I believe the reality, this is my personal belief, the reality out there is not real. Therefore, if I don't connect to that reality, if I don't make it real, there is nothing to worry about. And there's really no one out there to experience it except this I, ego mind, who's creating everything and then becoming the observer, and then it's going to feel it and it's going to have all those emotions pops up.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think that the third kind of idea that I had, I think ties in exactly with what you said, which is orienting yourself outside of the I to the rest of the world. So often this kind of ties in with point two, and what story are you telling and everything you said, which is we often get stuck in like, how does this affect me? I'm getting affected. I'm getting affected. And when we hang out in that place, so it's like you can kind of see, what story are we believing and does it really affect me? And getting out of that. And a lot of times it could be, even in a interpersonal relationship, let's say there's just uncertainty between an interpersonal relationship. If we're constantly in the I, as you say, then if you send me a text message, I'm going to think, well, what does that mean? What did she say? How does that affect me? And I'm stuck in that, rather than she said what she said, and focusing on you and supporting you, knowing that we have our friendship and professional relationship, and that you know what I mean. It's just not getting stuck in that I, as you said. And I think a lot of people, and I have done this a lot, but can easily default to that sense of how does this affect me? I do it all the time. I think we all do it all the time. We're concerned with our survival. And
Mhm.
because we're concerned with our survival, when the weather changes, when we get a message from somebody, when a politician is in office, immediately all we do is start to go through these filters of, how does this affect me? How does this affect me? How does this affect me? And if you can get out of that to, how can I be of service in the world? How can I contribute in the world? Who can I be in the world? That's changing the focus from a happening to me to, it's happening for me in the world. Who can I be in the world? It's a for instead of a to. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And we also had this conversation a couple of days ago, when I was saying, when someone is saying something to attack you, it comes as somebody is being vicious, somebody is saying something deliberately to hurt you or something, I said, if I don't connect to what is being said, instead of making it to attach to me, and I say, oh, this person deliberately is trying to hurt me, or they're being vicious, or they're doing that on purpose, or they're doing or saying something hurtful. If I separate for myself from that information and then open up my lens a little wider and say, listen to what is being said, and say, I wonder how much is this person being hurt?
Mm-hmm.
I
Yes.
wonder what this person has gone through.
Yes.
How was this person in their childhood? How many wounds? How were they hurt and injured?
Yes.
Don't make the comment or whatever information personal. I think if we learn not to make things personal, or that they're saying this to me, and we don't make it our own, we don't let it come to me, and I just separate what that information, and then open up my lens wider and say, I wonder what this person has gone through today. I think it's like that story. Who was it? Was it Tony Robbins that he said while back ages ago, when the first time I bought Tony Robbins CDs, that was like 20 some years ago. And then he told that story that it was from a book, someone else said it, that this guy with a couple of kids, they're in the train, and the kids are jumping all over the place, and everyone are being so judgmental. How come this father is so irresponsible? And then after a while, the father said, they just lost their mother in the hospital. Their mother just passed away from cancer. I really don't know how to deal with them right now. And that was a click that people, instead of being so judgmental and questioning the guy, what an irresponsible father he is, they separate that, and they had empathy for the guy, that whatever is going on out there is not about me. So many of us, I keep saying, stop being so narcissistic and think everything is happening to you. And whatever everyone is saying is about you, or they saying it to you. I said, start having more compassion and empathy, and just think about what is this person going through.
And well, and also I would take it a step further. First of all, I'm drinking water. That's all that is. And and somebody said, well, what if somebody keeps trying to hurt you? Well, if somebody's physically trying to hurt you, then they're trying to hurt you. If somebody's coming after you to punch you or shoot you or stab you or otherwise cause you physical harm, that's different. Yes, they are trying to hurt you. Emotionally,
But hold on one second before you go any further. I'm thinking, even if someone is physically attacking you or hurting you, the real intention maybe is not that. Even in that
sure.
situation, I have to think how much this person has been hurt, injured, and when we always go back to the first 7 years in our childhood, how was their upbringing? Were
I
they abused physically? Is Yes, go ahead.
Sure, but here's the thing, and this is what I think a lot of we all need to practice and be aware of, is you're very far along in the journey. So when somebody's being a certain way, at this point in your life, you have a huge amount of experience in detaching yourself from the conflict that's happening and wondering these questions. But a lot of people, and this includes myself, because I can talk about it because I know the technology. But if somebody is in an argument with me and they're yelling at me and they're making accusations at me, it's pretty hard for me to stay zen and stoic and non-reactive and untriggered. I get triggered, I get reactive, all those
Oh,
things.
I'm sure about that, Jeff.
Oh, are you, Sudi? Oh, are you? See? Case in point. So, in that, it's not just about being some wise person on top of a hill and understanding that the other person's suffering. It's also having enough self awareness to say, I behave that way too. So I'm speaking from a place, because if we're constantly coming from that place, as you said, of I, the ego, they are hurting me. The way out of that is two. One, yes, you can wonder what's going on with the other person, but guess what? That doesn't always matter, because just because you figure it out, and this has happened in my life, just because you figure out, oh, I bet the other person's dealing with something and I wonder what that is, it doesn't make it any more comfortable if the person is volatile and yelling at you. So I'm just saying that that causes a great degree of uncertainty in our lives. And so, as you were saying, as we've both been saying, is to reorient yourself, to get out of that. This is happening to me. What is this doing to me? What is this doing to me? And trying to put the focus off of you and creating a practical tool, which is, how can I contribute to somebody's life today? How can I, and that'll just get you out of that, just to push yourself out of that space and say, how can I contribute? How can I text somebody that is a friend and tell them I love them, or my family, or call somebody, or something? Can I go out and do something in the world just to push yourself out of that kind of space of suffering where you feel like the target of things, which is where a lot of that uncertainty is created.
Yeah, but I also think by knowing this, it brings a light bulb to others to kind of like, yeah, maybe I am taking things personally. Maybe I can learn not to personalize everything. I mean, a part of teaching is that when a teacher says something, it brings up an opening for others to know that. Oftentimes, it's not, we don't even know that we shouldn't take everything personally, or maybe we should separate ourselves from the information. Or maybe it would be wise for us to, instead of becoming reactive, it would be wise for us to know if somebody is hurting me, it's not deliberate. In a way, they're showing how hurt they are.
For sure.
See, I mean, for me, when I'm feeling good, when I'm okay, the information that comes to me, it doesn't trigger me,
Mhm.
right? Because I'm feeling good. I'm I'm in a solid, grounded
Mhm.
place. So whatever information comes to me, it doesn't affect me. Once I'm not aware, whatever information comes to me, I make it personal and I become reactive. So, how about if we start taking these few points that we talked about and make it a daily practice until it becomes, keep doing it repeatedly. Every time an information comes to you, you stop for a second and say, huh, how can I not make this personal? How can I look at the other person and kind of know that they are hurt? They're showing me that they are hurt. They're showing me that they had a bad day. They're
Mhm.
showing me that maybe there is a story behind the story that I'm not aware of now, right now.
Mhm.
So it's not personal. They're not attacking me. They're kind of looking for my understanding, love, and compassion from a different place, that how can I help them be at service instead of losing myself and getting to an argument. Imagine how much lighter, easier our lives would be if we practice this daily and don't just butt into everything going on.
I have a couple other things that I think are also helpful. And that is, take stock, take inventory of the situation. Let's say that you do the second step. Whose story are you listening to? And let's say that the uncertainty really is personal. It's not the madness that's happening out in the world. It really is you. Like I said, you lost your job and you lost all your money and something, or you have a life-threatening disease, you lose a loved one, something very significant happens in your personal life to cause you personal uncertainty. One of the things that I like to do is take inventory, take stock, because we often I had a call coming in. So we often don't know what exactly is we often feel threatened and we feel uncertain, and we don't know exactly what part of us is actually being threatened. Like you were saying, it could just be the ego. So what do I mean is, let's say that a person loses their job and they don't have any money, and it's like, okay, well, what do you have? Take inventory. And you might hear people say, well, have gratitude for what you have. I would say it a little differently. I wouldn't say have gratitude for what you have, because the uncertainty is you feel like you're going to lose all that you have. That is the threat. So it's like, well, wait a minute here. What's the worst case scenario? Are you going to have to sell all your material possessions? Are you going to end up homeless on the street? Are you going to end up having to live with a friend and sleep on their couch, or a family member? Like, what's the worst case scenario look like? Would you have to declare bankruptcy? And those sorts of things. And I like looking at that like, okay, well, what do I have? And what you have can give you a lot of gratitude for, like, okay, well, I've got a bed, I've got a roof, I've got air conditioning and heating, I've got food, and you could say, and I've got family, I've got friends. So even if I don't have any income and I had to declare bankruptcy and move in with a friend or family member, well, what's happening? Well, your pride's going to be hurt. Your ego is going to be hurt. You're going to feel some degree of shame, which is an interpretation of things, but most people would. You can change the story around that. But when you take stock of that, I feel like it gives a sense of calmness, because it's kind of like, I'm going to war. What kind of weapons do I have? Do I have ammunition? What do I got to go into that battle with? If you don't know what you have to go into that battle with, you're going to feel very uncertain. But if you know what you have to go into that battle with, you have some idea that what the different outcomes could be, and that's going to quiet down some of that uncertainty.
Mm-hmm.
And likewise, I'll give you one other example is, let's say it's a medical issue. Let's say you're diagnosed. Well, now we live in the greatest time ever, because with the internet, while there might be a lot of misinformation out there, there is a ton of correct information. So it wasn't long ago that if a doctor gave you a prognosis and said you have 6 months to live, you didn't really have anything to kind of challenge that with, that kind of diagnosis with. Now you could get on the internet, you could research the hell out of your condition, you could find experts on it, get 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 opinions on it. You have so much power now to say, well, wait a minute, rather than just feel like my life is uncertain and it's going to end, let me take stock. Okay, I can get this information, I can talk to so and so. It gives you actionable steps that you can take that I believe helps calm your system and give you some certainty to reduce that uncertainty even a little.
Mm-hmm. I pin Isabel, one of your fans,
The more
comment.
The more patient we are, the more they attack. Yes, that can be true. That is not always true, but yes, that absolutely can be true because everybody has a different survival strategy. And the work, and this applies to me too, the work is, if somebody is flailing and they're firing on all cylinders and attacking every which way, the more patient we are, yeah, the more non-reactive we are, the more the other person is going to say, I'm not getting a reaction, let me up the ante. I'm not getting a reaction, let me up the ante. And it's our job, and sometimes we win and sometimes we lose, at maintaining that stoic composure, that non-reactiveness, saying you could be a hurricane right now, and I'm just going to stand here still and let you be this hurricane. I hate to use the analogy, but like, let the 2-year-old cry themselves to sleep. But let the 2-year-old cry themselves to sleep. Let them throw a temper tantrum while you just sit there calm, still, peaceful. It's not going to be comfortable, but it's a muscle that we can develop over time.
Okay, I want to come from a different point of view. Isabel, you've been with me for a while now. I believe that the outer world is only a reflection of what's going on within me, right? We all know that now. The universe has set up a huge mirror there. It's a reflection of what's going on in my psyche, in my energy field, in my aura, blah, blah, blah. If I'm seeing someone who's being abusive and attacking me, then there's no one out there. This reflection is showing me what? How am I doing that? I keep saying, once we come to a higher understanding, we realize that the outer world is not real, right? But I understand it's very hard for the mind ego to understand that. But we know this much, that whoever or whatever happening out there, it's only a reflection. Where am I being attacking myself, being abusive? What number do I give myself in that 4 department? Self-love or lack of self-love, worthiness or unworthiness, being deserving or undeserving, being enough or not being enough. What number do I give myself in those 4 departments, right? How come I'm not attracting someone who is abusive? How come when someone, I talked about that a couple of days ago, I was talking to a few people, and someone started attacking me. Oh, you Allah, blah, 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 blah. And I just looked at this person and smiled in the whole calmness. The first thing, whatever is coming into me, like, okay, I wonder what's going on in his life. What is this guy's story? And I just smiled. Then 2 other people started attacking him. What are you saying? That you even know her? Who are you? And I'm just looking at this and just smiling. And I said, excuse me, guys, I think I have to leave now. One of the person who was defending me is like, don't you want to say something? I said, to whom? To this person. I said, no, I have nothing to say. I'm wishing him to become well and happy, joyful, calm, and experience peace. And I walked away, right? So this is what I'm saying. If sometimes something like this happened to me, that's how I react. I don't need to defend myself. I don't need to listen to whatever. And as that story about Buddha, that they said, this guy here in town, that Buddha is so solid that it doesn't matter how much you attack him or whatever you say, he never responds back. And this guy gets triggered and he says, really? I'm going to go and get Buddha out of his place. We all heard that story, right? So he goes and he swears at Buddha, la, 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 la. Buddha just smiled. And then he says, how come you don't get upset? And Buddha said, if someone give you a present and you don't accept it, who does it go to? He said, to me. He says, if you start talking all this nonsense and I don't accept it, it's going to come back to you. So it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, we give other people so much importance and value to what they're saying or how they're acting that we don't realize they don't deserve it. This is how I come from. I say my peace and happiness is very important to me. It's extremely valuable. No one, nothing, no events out there, it's so important that's going to take me out of this serenity and this peace space. So think about it, guys. How much time, energy, emotion do you spread out to someone or to an event that's not even worth and deserving of taking away your serenity?
And I agree. And here's my last point, which, and I'm seeing the question of like, what if you have no choice? What if you're in the middle of it? And the kind of final of these kind of, 5 ideas that I have here is expand your social network. And that might sound easier said than done. And it's a muscle I think that we all owe ourselves to strengthen, even if we're going to use apps these days. Now there's all sorts of meetup apps and friend apps and things like that. And the reason I say that is because if, as we go through life, our social circle, which includes our friends and family, expands and contracts, expands and contracts. And when we're in a contraction phase, we have our few family members, a few friends, and that's kind of our whole world. Then when there's a conflict with somebody, it's very significant. It's like, well, that's my best friend or one of my best 3 friends. Or you're like, well, gee, I only have 3 friends. I don't really talk to anybody else right now. So if there's a problem with that person or a conflict with that person, it means a lot to us. And we don't really have a lot of places to go to get some honest feedback or support. It's like we go to our other 2 friends. Well, maybe those other 2 friends know each other. Versus if we expand our social network and we build that muscle of finding some extra activities to do, then it does 2 things for us. One, it gives several things to us. It gives us a much broader sense of security, because when we're in survival mode, if we ever really truly need to be in survival mode, we're not going to survive alone. We're going to survive as a unit, as a tribe. So to find more and more people to connect with is going to just give us a deeper sense of certainty that if trouble really comes, we're going to have a tribe to survive with. Mm-hmm. 2, if we just want advice, we have a broader spectrum of people to get advice from. And then 3 is, like I was saying earlier, orient yourself away from the I, this is what's happening to me, same thing you said, to how can I be for other people? Well, if you've only got 2 people in your life and you're like, well, I know how I am for those people and I'm fighting with them, so I don't have anywhere to go. But if you have a broad social network and you expand it, then, if you have conflict with 1 or 2 people, it's like, you know what, I'm going to go for a hike with this other group of friends. I have no conflict with them, and find some way to just help make their day better. And that's a way to say, well, I'm going to get away from this conflict and take that energy over here. And I believe that helps reduce that uncertainty by giving us that just a broader tribe that we can get mental, emotional support from, and maybe even survival support from at a very deep genetic level.
Or I can welcome that time and try to get more deeper within myself and do some soul searching and start getting to know this I, the ego mind, and work on separating myself. Because if my whole energy is so toxic, I'm attracting toxic people and I'm attracting toxic situation. You're going to take yourself from here to another place and another place. You're still carrying yourself here and there. So it doesn't matter. You're going to get to the next group and then you're going to create more chaos there.
Yeah,
So I so often believe that it's not about people. It's nobody out there. So
I,
if I'm not working on myself to clear out my space, then you know what's
I
the
kind of I disagree a little. I know where you're coming from, and just FYI, I got to make today a little shorter, so I got to wrap up in a
me
couple
too.
minutes. So
Yes,
I get what you're saying, and you don't know what you don't know, and we none of us do. None of us know what we don't know. We all have blind spots, and I have done a ton of self-reflection. I have done a ton of self-awareness work, and one of the pitfalls, one of the dangers is that when you travel that path, and I highly recommend everybody travel that path. I think the world would be a better place if we all went down that path. We're constantly discovering how we're wrong. That's one of the pitfalls of it. Oh, I'm wrong. Take responsibility for yourself. I'm wrong. I'm the asshole. I'm wrong. I'm the asshole. I'm bringing this into my life. I'm bringing this into my life. And you can sometimes get caught in this trap of I'm a bad person, or I don't know, and I'm attracting all this negativity. I must be a negative person. Or it's easy to start blaming yourself. And that's what I don't like about that. So yes, we need to reflect. We obviously need to do the work, because I mean, I've worked with people where when they show me text messages or they say I said this and the other person said that, it's like, well, you kind of caused this yourself. So we definitely need to do the external work, learning to do then the internal work to see how we can become better people and stop attracting that. And that doesn't change the fact that if somebody is suffering from a lot of trauma and they're bringing that trauma to your life and they are attacking you, that you're to blame somehow. You're not to blame at all. The other person is attacking you. And sometimes that's why I said if you have a very small social network, you don't feel like you have a lot of outlets. But if you have a broader social network, you can go to a safer area. And you could even say look, if you really want to get real with these other friends, say, do I bring this energy to you? Do you feel like I'm this way with you because it's kind of a current safe space for you? So you could say, like, do you feel like I'm causing this, that, and the other, which is causing the conflict with the other person? And they could give you maybe some calm, or like, well, no, you're normal, or yeah, every once in a while you're this way, and it causes us to react to you a certain way or whatever. But I do think that we need to be able to get in decreasing uncertainty, in finding happiness, be able to get away from the conflict and go be around other social environments that are just very neutral, topical, and even maybe be a safe place for us to ask them, hey, do I occur to you a certain way? Or, is it me? And be honest with me. Is it me? Or whatever.
well, I don't agree, but that's all joint lives are all about.
That's right.
Oftentimes people think that spend years of they read a lot of self-help book, they take a lot of course.
Hmm.
It doesn't mean that they really have got deep within their psyche. And as
Mhm.
you and I know, I believe, look at your reality and it just tells you. I've seen healers. I've been with so many healers. They all wounded healers. And
Mhm.
they've done tons of works on themselves, but they are so fragile. They are still breaking down, and they're still like, you look at their outer world is just so complex. They're getting hurt in relationship, in love, in this or that. So I don't agree with you. I believe if you really spend enough time to get really, really deep in your psyche, and you come from a higher consciousness, you can separate yourself from this I. Your reality will totally change. If you're in conflict with someone, I'm not saying to blame yourself. I'm saying realize, take the blaming away, realize you are the creator, and come back to yourself and see, look at your thoughts pattern, look at your energy field. See, once you're in contact with other people, do they raise up? Does their energy come up? Or are you a constant complainer and you're an energy vampire and you're sucking out other people's energy? I have lived both worlds. I have been to the other part where I blame everybody. My reality was I was constantly fighting in problem, chaos, love, love, love. And I couldn't realize and take fully responsibilities that I am creating this. What energy am I sending out? What are my thought patterns? How much anger, um, expecting others to do this or that, looking for support from other people? How much of that is in my thought pattern? What are my emotions? And once I realized that it is all me, I have switched to the other part. And I realized that exactly once I change, the situation and the reality will change. It all depends in what level of consciousness we're talking about. Look at your reality. How your reality is the simplest, closest thing into what's going on in your field. If your reality is nothing like you like, then who is not to blame someone. It's for you to wake up and say, if I'm the creator, why am I creating all this chaos, lack, scarcity, anger, conflicts with different people? Look at your reality. You're the creator.
On that note, I gotta jump.
Jump.
It's
Jumping is good.
Jumping is good. It is. It's great for the energy. All right. Thank
Okay,
you for
thanks,
having me
Jim.
on.
Have a great day, and we'll see you soon.
Yes, have a great day. Bye.
Thank you. Okay, Isabel, thank you so much for saying it's true, because it takes a whole honesty for me to realize that this finger should totally turn inward. You are the creator of your reality. Bad, good, up, down, whatever it is being created from here. I'm going to end up this live, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Before I end, I just wanted to bring to your attention that we have found out it's been a while that someone has opened up another Instagram under my name, Sudabe Burnett. As you know, my old page was Sudabe Burnett with double T. My last name is with 2 T. And someone has opened up Sudabe Burnett with 3 T's. T. That's a fake account. Please do not join that Instagram. If they ask you for money, information, blah blah blah, that's a fake account. It has nothing to do. We have reported that account many times, but somehow Instagram hasn't paid any attention. So you can report it also. So the page is Sudabe Burnett, one word, SOUDABEH That's a fake account. You can report it too, guys. We have reported it many times, and this, whoever this person is uploading all of my lives and all of my material. Okay, that's something that I just wanted to let you know, that if they ask you for something, that is not me. I don't want you guys to get tricked by that. Also, for those of you who are signing up or subscribing to my English YouTube channel, Sudi Burnett English, as usual, you can receive a gift. It could be anything, a CD, a DVD, a file, whatever you like, of your choice. Do not forget to subscribe, like, share, comments on my YouTube channel, Sudi Burnett English. And also here, love you all. See you soon. Thank you so much for being with me. Bye bye.